I'm John Tesh. She avoids the public spotlight as avidly as most other stars pursue it, and she is pursued by movie makers as they pursue perhaps no other actress. Meryl Streep, in a rare interview with Leonard Maltin, is our inside story for today.
I live a very regular life, you know. I have 3 children and a husband, and I can't really carry anything home.
Oh, some people might, though, even given those circumstances.
Maybe I yell at my kids when things have been particularly intense. But actually, it's a relief to turn it off at the end of the day. Because a lot of the roles that I play are pretty intense, you know, and it's a nice thing about doing a fiction. I mean, I'm glad I'm not Lindy Chamberlain.
But Streep is playing Lindy, called the most hated woman in Australia in A Cry in the Dark.
Please, God help me. The baby! My baby!
Chamberlain is the real-life housewife put on trial for the murder of her 9-week-old baby. And Streep is once again astounding.
You say the blood on the parka must have come from the baby?
Yes.
When it was in the dog's mouth?
Somewhere around that time.
But what other time could it have come from the baby?
Look, Mr. Barker, I wasn't there. I can only go on the evidence of my own eyes. We're talking about my baby daughter. Not some object. She was amazing. She's just an amazing woman. She's an ordinary person. She's absolutely extraordinary. That's what drew me to the part. I love seeing that just sizable character in the least expected places.
You're a chameleon. I mean, a lot of people, you know, feel that the thing about you is that every time we see you in a movie, we're seeing a different person, and we don't have a strong sense of Meryl Streep playing this. It's that character.
Yeah, it's probably, I mean, I don't know why that is, but I just like to do that. I mean, I like to become these different characters. It's just really fun, and it's sort of the thrill of it. And it's sort of the most upsetting part, too.
How's that? Because
you lose yourself.
You lose control?
You lose yourself. I mean, you lose yourself for moments. You're in there. I mean, I don't want to go into the realms of mental illness or anything, but you do. It's a real loss of control. And that's fun for me. I like that.
Streep's next role looks like one she'll enjoy, too. It appears she'll star in the film version of the Broadway musical, Evita.
I'm trying to do it, yeah.
You want to do it?
I want to do it. I've been offered it, but they don't have the deal set, so I don't know. I believe it when I get there, you know, set foot in Argentine soil, you know. But, yeah, that's a thrilling prospect. Wow, I've wanted to do that for 10 years.
Really?
Yeah.
You sung on stage, I know, before.
Yeah.
And, but most people will not have heard you sing. And, of course, people always say, well, can she sing? Well, you can.
That's what the producers said. Yeah. So I made a tape and then convinced them, but I was actually too nervous, this is the truth, to stand up in front of them and
Really?
sing.
So you didn't
audition tape? Some office, stand there and, you know. Yeah, so I went into the Hit Factory with a pianist. And Sting was upstairs mixing. He said, "What are you doing down here? Are you getting into the business, you know?" I said, "No." "Well, I'm trying to get this part in this movie." "Well, I'll produce it," he said. I said, "Forget it. No, I just want this to sound as bad as it possibly can, and then I'll tell them that it'll get better." And they gave me the part, so I'm really thrilled. I've really wanted to do that for a long time.
One of the most fascinating things about Meryl Streep's acting is her command of accents: German, Australian, Polish, Danish. Later on today's show, she talks with Leonard with the accent on accents.
Can you tell which one is the real Marilyn Monroe? Sometimes the illusion becomes so real that the actress who plays Marilyn doesn't even know.
Most of the time, it's just a feeling that comes over me. It's like a trance, and I come out of it at the end.
Tomorrow, meet the woman who's given up her own identity to recreate Hollywood's greatest sex symbol. That's our inside story.
When we come back, comedian Roseanne Barr reveals her secrets for keeping her man in line. And ahead, Hollywood stars honor a music legend.
About a dozen years ago in Denver, Roseanne Barr was caught in the homemaker's grind of cleaning the house, taking care of the kids. But as she tells Lisa Gibbons, she was able to couple those experiences with her sarcastic wit and turn it into a comedy hit. Lisa?
Well, this is the lady you've been hearing about, the self-proclaimed domestic goddess with a sharp wit and a sharp tongue who took her polyester personality first to comedy clubs and now to television. Roseanne is one of the most talked about shows of the new season, a show whose star is a queen-sized Ralph Cramden of the 80s with a realistic look at motherhood and a real shot at TV success.
Can I have pie for breakfast? No, that's contaminated. Don't sit down and eat your breakfast now, and don't spill your milk today neither.
Critics and test audiences indicate that Roseanne may be one of the few hits of the delayed season, a show about a woman with figure flaws, financial foes, and the day-to-day dilemmas of life in the domestic lane.
In the 15 years we've been married, has there ever been one morning where there wasn't any coffee?
No.
Then why do you have to ask me every morning if there's coffee?
Is there toast?
I think we ought to start getting wages for housework, benefits, and, you know, the recognition and the appreciation that goes with running the world, which is what we do. But now me and my husband, we just found this great new method of birth control that really, really works. Every night before we go to bed, we spend an hour with our kids.
Roseanne has had a taste of success as a stand-up comic and on TV comedy specials, but I didn't get the idea that stardom is all that seductive.
All I do is work. I never have any fun or anything.
Oh, come on.
I don't. I never have any fun. It's no different than when I was a housewife, except for that I make more money. That's about it. Actually, I really like working, and that is my fun. I'm not going to go, like, skiing or nothing.
Well, I guess that destroys all the myths, doesn't it?
Just kind of dorky skiing and surfing. And I'm like that. You know, I'm Jewish.
California's really not the place for you, is it?
That's what I keep telling everyone. A guy is a lump like this donut. Okay, so first, you got to get rid of all the stuff his mom did to him. And then you got to get rid of all that macho crap that they pick up from the beer commercials. And then there's my personal favorite, the male ego.
How about the people who say this show is anti-men, that there's a lot of male bashing?
I think that men who have actually ever had sex won't be threatened.
But now, as far as your views on men, are they okay as a species?
Yeah, I think that they, you know, they're half the human race, and they do 1/10 of the world's work. Absolutely, I love men. What's going on with you?
Mother, this is very important. Our school's having a food drive for poor people.
Well, tell them to drive some of that food over here.
Just to give you a hint at the inspiration without spoiling the plot for you, at one point she looks exasperated at the kids and says, "This is why some animals eat their young."
Okay, Lisa, thank you very much. And Roseanne premieres tomorrow night on ABC.
Jason Bateman's career began on a lark when he went to an audition with an actor friend. That was 12 years ago. Now he's an established star with a hit show, but he hasn't let his success spoil him. Jason Bateman has grown up fast in his short show business career. As a star of the Hogan Family, now in its third season, Jason credits his parents for helping him avoid the downside of Hollywood.
My parents prepared us so well, and still to this day have stayed so close to both Justine and I's careers that they have obviously shown us or opened up our eyes initially to the good and the bad. And I know I've made a real conscious effort to have a lot of fun in this business, and when it's not fun, to leave it.
Family Ties star Justine Bateman, like Jason, was coached by her father and managed by both parents. But Jason says sibling rivalries are no longer in the picture.
We're great friends. We've gotten even better friends since we moved out. We know we're no longer really brother and sister because we're not living at home together anymore. And I've really enjoyed branching our our sibling relationship off into a real strong friendship. I'm a real happy person, and I haven't yet experienced any negative side to my success per se, and I've had a real good time.
In addition to his work on the Hogan family, Jason is looking at scripts for feature films and made-for-TV movies.
A lethal injection of morphine was the central issue in a celebrated murder trial that pitted the state against a nurse trying to care for her terminally ill patient. Now, this true story will be told in a new made-for-TV movie.
When I went back to Martha, she was in terrible pain. She was crying out. So I gave her 30 milligrams of morphine.
Were you aware that the order was for 15?
In Fatal Judgment, actress Patty Duke dons a Boston accent and a nurse's cap to portray Anne Caput, a nurse accused of giving the fatal dosage of morphine to a terminally ill patient. In preparing for the part, Duke had to learn at least one nursing skill.
I administered a shot of an injection to someone. And the nurse, a wonderful woman who does not practice as a nurse anymore except as a consultant, was most generous with her time and her arm. And I practiced on her, but it was, you know, all very carefully handled and everything was sterile and all of that. But it's still, you know, it's kind of creepy.
Fatal Judgment, which is based on the book Fatal Dosage, airs tomorrow night on CBS.
Promotional consideration provided by Remington, the new Remington Electroblade with vibrating blades for a close, smooth, comfortable shave, safe, immersible, and cordless. The new Remington Electroblade vibrating blade system.
His fans remember him for his folk rock story songs. But Harry Chapin was also a humanitarian. In the 8 years before he died, he played more than 1,600 concerts, half of them for charity. He helped raise millions of dollars. In fact, he died in a car crash on the way to a benefit. Now his life is being remembered in a very special way.
And the cat's in the cradle and the silver spoon, little boy blue and the man on the moon.
Harry Chapin's greatest form was personal appearances. He told musical stories about everyday life that were the essence of theater. And so it's only natural that his work has been turned into an onstage show called Lies and Legends, the musical stories of Harry Chapin.
I can swear I've seen a face before, and W-O-L-D.
Last night's Los Angeles performance was applauded by some well-known Chapin fans.
The music is incredible. It's a great legacy for Harry Chapin, who gave us all an incredible gift.
There's lots of music and there's lots of humor in the show, as well as some terribly moving stuff.
They are sensational. They sing, they act, and they move me.
The voices are just harmonic and it's really uplifting.
The play includes a moving rendition of Chapin's biggest hit, Cats in the Cradle. Following the show's run in Los Angeles, the producers plan to take it on the road. There are no details yet. They're in the planning stages.
The Accused opened at #1 according to our Entertainment Tonight box office estimates. Alien Nation was 2nd, Punchline 3rd, Gorillas in the Mist 4th, and A Fish Called Wanda was 5th. Meryl Streep's new movie, A Cry in the Dark, opens in November. In it, she plays an Australian woman, complete with accent. As we promised you earlier, Leonard Maltin shows us that this is just the latest in a long line of Streep voices. Leonard?
That's right, Rob. Now, Laurence Olivier, arguably the greatest actor in the world, loves to develop the look of a character before he determines how he's going to play it. And he loves hiding behind false noses and elaborate makeup. Meryl Streep, arguably the greatest actress in movies today, seems to enjoy submerging herself inside characters of different ethnic backgrounds. But this is much more than a nightclub comics type of impression. It's an extraordinary gift.
Oh, in French it's so easy. You say vite. Or in Polish, shipko. In Russian, bistro. It's only in the English. It's so complicated.
How many languages do you know?
Well, my father was linguist, so I mean, he teach me German, French, Russian, Hungarian, the Slavic languages. So, what language I am butchering now?
You've played so many characters with so many nationalities, so many dialects, and much has been said, of course, about your facility.
You're crediting me with a perfect murder.
Were you always a mimic? Were you always good at that, like as a kid?
Yeah. I'm not as good as Tracy Ullman. But I always, you know, I could use it to get a laugh or something. Mm-hmm. But I've only used it seriously in recent years.
But of course, it's more than mimicry. You're sustaining an entire performance and making it believable.
Oh, well, yeah, I meant mimicry I use definitely to pick up accents. I mean, that's, I always get dumped on because I do these accents. But really, if I talked like I came from New Jersey in this country, you know, everybody would have gone crazy. I mean, I had to do it. So I'm defending myself here. But to me, it's like auto mechanics. It's how you just check under the hood to make sure you got everything. But it's not the hardest thing about it by any means.
Incidentally, Meryl Streep told me that the Australian accent was the toughest one she's ever had to do, and she does it brilliantly in A Cry in the Dark. We'll have more of my conversation with her in a few weeks when the film is scheduled to open.
Leonard, she seems like such a wonderful lady. Is she that nice in person?
Yeah, she was, and I was very taken with her. She doesn't carry herself with any kind of star air about her at all.
She doesn't do a lot of interviews. It was fun that you had a chance to be able to talk with her.
I was delighted because I'm a tremendous fan of hers, and I think she is the kind of actress who can do just about anything.
Yeah,
people are surprised that she's going to do Evita, but she has a very good singing voice, and I think it's going to be a real interesting thing to watch for.
All right, great. Thank you very much, Leonard.
The Insider checks out the grocery store lines. We'll have that for you in a moment.
Air transportation furnished and a promotional fee paid by Delta Airlines. Delta offers you a choice of more flights to more cities than any other airline system. At Delta, we love to fly, and it shows. Celebrating a birthday today, actor George Wendt is 40. Actress Margot Kidder, also 40. Singer James Seals is 47. Actor Tom Poston is 61. And actress Jean Arthur is 80.
The ET Insider got caught in the slow lane at the supermarket checkout, so he was able to read the National Enquirer cover to cover without forking over 75 cents. Among the Enquirer scoops, Robert Wagner popping the question to Jill St. John, who says, yes, 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 so they'll get married around Valentine's Day in Aspen, Colorado. Called Jill and Bob, and they say none of that is true. Then the Insider reads where Zsa Zsa Gabor can't sell her mansion in Bel Air, California for $6.9 million. So she's upped the price to an even $10 million. Called Zsa Zsa, and this item is close to the mark. She says the original price was $7.5 million. Who's to quibble over $500,000 or so? Listen up, Eddie Van Halen. The Insider has bad news for you. Check out the latest Us magazine, the one with your wife Valerie Bertinelli on the cover. Valerie talks about making a new TV movie about famed femme pilot Pancho Barnes. Valerie says flying in the old planes was exhilarating. We quote, Pancho was right. It really is better than sex. Question, does Eddie know that? Answer, I never really told him. I'm sure he'll read about it in one of these interviews. End quote. The Insider can go no further with this since at this point he reached the checkout stand and put Us magazine back to save $1.75. The Insider then called Valerie Bertinelli, who said all of the quotes were true. Can't win them all, Eddie.
Okay, something for everyone in today's ET Newsreel. A Howdy Doody look-alike contest, a fashion show, cooking and sex, plus honors for actress Kathleen Turner. In Hollywood, Kathleen Turner was honored by Women in Film for her contributions to the film industry.
Without the great strides we've made in our society in terms of women's position, we still have a ways to go, and it's nice to have an organization that is specifically for us.
In Los Angeles, a benefit children's fashion show was held featuring celebrity kids, including the pint-sized daughter of Ed McMahon in the middle, the grandson of Lucille Ball, and a very shy belly dancer on the left belonging to Jacqueline Smith.
My little girl is not yet 3, and she's back there by herself, and I'm a nervous wreck, but I think she's having a ball.
Van Nuys, California, funny man Dom DeLuise was cooking up some laughs to promote his new cookbook.
Does anybody want to know anything about cooking? Fine. Does anybody want to know anything about sex? It won't take long.
And in New York, a toy store celebrated the opening of its Howdy Doody boutique. Buffalo Bob Smith and Clarabelle were on hand to sign autographs and to judge a Howdy Doody look-alike contest. The young man whose mom pulled a few strings was named the winner.
Did your mom ever enter you in one of those things?
No, I didn't look that much like Howdy to begin with, John.
Oh, a few freckles, maybe?
Well, all right, I'll reconsider.
We're just about out of Howdy Doody time. On tomorrow's show, Shirley MacLaine says she's not going to play those leggy ladies anymore. She's going for character roles.
And today, we're going to close with Harry Chapin's rendition of Cats in the Cradle. Have a good day.
Take care, everybody.
Bye-bye.
I called him up just the other day. I said I'd like to see you if you don't mind. He said I'd love to, Dad, if I can find the time. You see, my new job's a hassle and the kids have the flu, but it's sure nice talking to you, Dad.